So if you asked me, I would say that we are in the golden age of television, and 2019 had a phenomenal year of TV shows, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. My top 10 best TV shows of 2019. Let's jump into this list. What's going on, everybody? Elliot here today to talk about my top 10 best TV shows of 2019. Yes, I know you're probably looking at yourself like, why is this channel called Movie Files? I love movies and I review a lot of them, but I also love TV, and I'm excited to share my favorite shows of 2019 with you all. And there's a lot of shows that won't be on this list. Like, I don't have every single streaming platform. Like, I don't have Amazon, so you won't hear about The Boys or Fleabag or some other shows that I heard some really great things about. But I'm pretty confident in the list that I'm sharing with you all today. But before we dive into it, those that are new to this channel, definitely consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that bell so you can stay up to date with all my TV reviews, movie reviews, trailer reactions, unboxings, giveaways, and all the fun things we do on this very channel. And I love doing these type of videos. Like last week, I did my top 10 horror movies of the decade, top 10 comic book movies of the decade. I will be having my best movies of 2019 and 2020 movies that I'm excited for. But I love doing these videos because I love hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know your top 10 shows, top 5, top 3, number 1 show of 2019. Let's have some fun discussions down there. There's no right or wrong answers. It's just a conversation amongst us fans of those that love TV, and I love to talk TV with you all, so definitely comment below. With that out of the way, let's go over some honorable mentions before I dive into my top 10 list. So starting off my honorable mentions, I got Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Part 2, which I will be reviewing Season 3 or Part 3 in a couple weeks here, so definitely keep an eye out for that video. I have another Netflix show, Daybreak, which I highly recommend you all checking out. That show is really fun. Zombie meets Mad Max Fury Road meets kind of a teenager type of show, coming of age. Definitely enjoyed that show. We got a new streaming platform in Apple TV Plus, and Dickinson was a really good show. Hulu, I have Castle Rock Season 2, which I enjoyed more than Season 1. And then last but not least, on my honorable mention, a show that a lot of people didn't talk about that much, but I really enjoyed it, but didn't quite make my list, and that is Paul Rudd's Living With Yourself. Check out that show. Check out my review for that, and let me know what you all thought of it. So with that, let's kick off this list with my number 10 favorite show or best show of 2019, and that is another Apple TV Plus show, and that is The Morning Show, which stars Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell. I was so surprised by how much I was just invested in the characters, and what happens in the finale is so shocking and tragic. And throughout the 10 episodes that we got in the season, I really enjoyed it. I have to say, this is probably the best I've seen Jennifer Aniston. I love, her in Friends as Rachel, but this has taken her acting to another level. I thought Reese Witherspoon was a great character as Alex, kind of the new person being brought into the mix. And then Steve Carell. The Office is by far my favorite comedy of all time as far as TV show goes, and I love seeing him playing this different role. The show, for you all that don't know what The Morning Show is essentially kind of taking a page out of the real life incident that happened with the people from Today's Show with Matt Lauer. That's essentially who Steve Carell is playing, where there's these allegations that came out about him sexually assaulting women and the whole fallout of that. And you're watching, Reese Witherspoon character coming to the mix, and how, Jennifer Aniston, they're trying to get to know each other, and you get all this drama. It's a really, really good show. A lot of people haven't been talking about it. I know it got nominated for some Golden Globes and stuff like that, but it really hasn't gotten the buzz that it deserves. I really recommend you all check out The Morning Show if you haven't already, but that is my number 10 on my top 10 best shows of this year. Or I should say 2019, because we're in 2020, which is crazy to me. But number 9 on my list is a Netflix show, a Season 2, a show that I didn't think that we needed a Season 2 for, but I still end up really enjoying it, and that is The End of the Effing World. Again, Season 1, if you guys haven't watched The End of the Effing World, one of my best surprises of what was that, 2017. I did not know what I was getting into with that show, and I loved what I ended up getting. The show is very quick. There's about 19, 20-minute episodes, about 8 episodes per season, and this season picks up after Season 1 with James and Alyssa. They throw in a new character in Bonnie, and again, it wasn't as strong as Season 1, but I love James and Alyssa and their love story, and seeing them go on a road trip and kind of a coming of age story within itself. I just love that show, and I'm pretty sure this is the last season that we're getting, but if that is the case, I think they went out on a pretty high note, and that is The End of the Effing World Season 2. Highly recommend it, and that is my number 9 on my list. Another Netflix show, which is coming in on my number 8, and that is Russian Doll. Very, very good show. Natasha Lyonne, essentially what she's doing in the show, she's celebrating her 36th birthday, and what happens is she's reliving her death, and she dies she dies that night and she's reliving the night. So it's essentially kind of Groundhog Day meets Happy Death Day, and it kind of has its own spin to it. It's a comedy drama, and it has some really good laughs, but also has some really dark moments, and I really, really was surprised about that show. And I'm pretty sure they're making a season 2, and I'm very excited for that. But if you all haven't watched Russian Doll, definitely check it out. That's my number 8 on my list here. Now there's a lot of Netflix shows on this show. As you guys can see, I watch a lot of Netflix. My number 7 coming in on my list here is Stranger Things Season 3. What I really loved about this season was it brought back the feels that I got from Season 1. I really enjoyed Season 2, but I didn't think it was as strong as Season 1 or Season 3, which I really enjoyed. Again, you're going back to the kids. You're seeing them kind of having a fraction in their relationship. You're seeing Elle's powers evolving and everything that's going on with Elle and, Finn Wolfhardt's character. But it was just a really good season. Again, it brought me back to Season 1 with the kids and bringing in, all the stuff that we get with the side stories and seeing more of Harper and what happens to him in Season 4. Very excited to see that. But we get the never-ending story little scene there towards the end of the season, and I'm just very excited to see what they do with Season 4. And hopefully we get more of Maya Hawke's character who played Robin. And of course, like I said, that twist on the end of what happened to Harper. Very excited to see what Season 4 has to offer. But I really enjoyed Season 3 because, again, it reminded me a lot of Season 1. So that was my number 7. On to my number 6 on the list. Again, the theme here is Netflix, and we're going to switch it up here in a little bit, but there's another show on Netflix that I really, really recommend, and that is Unbelievable. You have, essentially, it's based on a true story about a serial rapist, and you have these 2 detectives played by Toni Collette and Margaret Weaver, and you have Caitlin Dever in the mix. I mean, the acting was top-notch. The story was just so heartbreaking. The drama was there. The suspense, the mystery aspect was there. Really, really great show with phenomenal performances across the board. And it is a true story. And if you haven't seen this show yet, brace yourself because it's very, very intense, very disturbing things that happen in the show. But at the end of the day, it's a well-told story, beautifully directed. Again, the acting was superb. And I just can't recommend this show enough. That's Unbelievable on Netflix with an incredible cast. That's my number 6. On to my number 5. Before I dive into it, like I said up top, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit that bell so you can stay up to date with all my content, and let me know in the comments what shows you guys have on your list, and let's have some discussions on that comment section down there. So on to my number 5. We got this big conglomerate platform with Disney Plus, and there's one show that everyone was talking about and a show that I reviewed each and every week, and that is The Mandalorian. I could not believe how much I fell in love with a particular aspect. I love Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian. I love, Carl Weathers in the mix. You got Cara Dune. You got the amazing directing from Taika Waititi, Rick Famuyiwa, Deborah Chow. So many great, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Just a lot of amazing directors. Great story, action-packed. It took a little bit to kind of get used to the format, the whole episodic feel to the show, but by the end of the day, I loved it. But with all that being said, I don't know if this show works as well if it didn't have Baby Yoda, which I know they don't want us to call him Baby Yoda anymore, but they didn't give us a species name. So we're going to call him Baby Yoda till we get that official name. But Baby Yoda for the win. He's the MVP of the year, and I love this show. Again, I reviewed all the episodes. All 8 chapters are on my channel now to watch, but I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to see what they do in Season 2, which they announced a couple weeks ago that we're getting to Season 2 in the fall of this year. We're supposed to get more of the characters in the actual movies that are supposed to be appearing in the next season. So very excited for The Mandalorian Season 2, but I love Season 1, and I highly recommend you all checking out my reviews for those that have seen the show. So that is my number 5. On to my number 4. This show was one of the best things I've seen all year, and that is a Netflix show called Love, Death, and Robots. It's a very adult animated sci-fi anthology series brought to us by Tim Miller and David Fincher. I love that show. It was 18 episodes. The episodes range between 6 and 17 minutes, and it is just such an amazing animated anthology series. Some of the best animated things I've ever seen, some of the coolest stories, some of the best visuals, and I cannot wait for them to do another season of this Love, Death, and Robots, but I was blown away by that show. I reviewed all 18 episodes, or I did a big review and talked about all my favorite episodes, but I highly, highly, highly recommend you all checking out Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. Phenomenal show. You will not be disappointed, trust me. So on to my number 3, kind of getting out of the Netflix sphere and getting out of the Disney Plus. Now we're talking about some shows on HBO that made my top 3, and that is Euphoria is coming in at number 3. Rue, Jules, Frisco, Maddie, Nate, I mean, the incredible score, incredible story. This is like the Grassy on crack. I love the creator of the show, Sean Livingston, who actually a lot of people didn't really like this film, but Assassination Nation, I actually really enjoyed that film, and he brought that flavor into the show, but really kind of honed in his talent, his skills behind the lens, and his storytelling. I mean, it is raw, it is gritty, it is a very adult show. I know that there were some people that was very, me being included, was very kind of like, whoa, I did not know what I was kind of getting into of how like mature the show was, but the acting is great. The storytelling, the characters are so rich. Again, Jules, played by Zendaya, was so great. Her relationship with Jules, and Rue and Jules' relationship, and everything that happened with Nate and Maddie. I love this show. I cannot wait for season 2. One of the best scores of the year. The score that we got in that show. I love Euphoria. And again, I'm warning you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it, but it's very mature, and definitely you've been warned, but it's one of my favorite shows this year. That's my number 3 coming in with Euphoria. Number 2 is another HBO show. It is my favorite comic book show of all time. It's one of my favorite shows that I've seen this year. Obviously, it's coming in number 2, and it's high up there as far as one of my favorite shows of all time, and that is Watchmen. I read the graphic novel. I saw the 2009 movie of Zack Snyder, and this is one of the best adaptations of anything, of any media that I've ever seen. Damien Lindelof, who I love, Leftovers, one of my favorite shows of all time, and this is definitely up there as far as Watchmen, has brought some of the best storytelling I've ever seen, with episode 6, with finding out the identity of Hooded Justice, finding out everything. I don't want to spoil anything for those that haven't watched it yet, but everything with Dr. Manhattan. Angela A-Bar, one of my favorite characters of 2019, one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. Loved her story. Loved seeing the characters that were in the graphic novel being brought back into the show. We might not get a season 2, and I'm okay with that, but if they do give us a season 2, give it to me right now. But season 1 of Watchmen is some of the greatest storytelling I've ever seen. This show did not hold anything back. They touched on race, generational trauma. They touched on, so many things, racism in America. I mean, there's so much that this show dives into, and I can't recommend it enough. If you all have seen Watchmen, I reviewed every single episode, went into in depth with it. Some of my favorite reviews I've done in 2019, and I can't recommend Watchmen enough. Again, if we don't get a season 2, I'm fine with it, but if we do, I can't wait to hear more of Angela's A-Bar story and more of that universe. One of the best shows of the year. So with that, we're on to my number 1 show of 2019. It is a Netflix show. It is a show that, even though I love my Watchmen, I love Euphoria, I love my top 10 list, this show to me was one of the most emotional shows I've ever seen, and that is Netflix's When They See Us, directed, written, produced by the phenomenal Ava DuVernay. I mean, you have Michael K. Williams, you have Nancy Nash, but the standout performer and the actor for me in this show was Jerome. Jarrell Jerome, I'm sorry. That episode, 4 episodes, episode 4 was one of the most emotional shows of TV I've ever seen. I was literally crying in my house watching that episode, and just watching the whole series play out about the kids, what happened in the park that night, and how the cops pressured them to say that they did it, and everything with their family, and how it ended up impacting them when they grew up. Again, episode 4. When you get that individual story, I was literally at tears watching everything that happened to Jerome's character, and I just thought that was one of the best acting performances I saw of last year, and one of the best things I've ever seen. When They See Us, it's a tough watch. It's very difficult to watch, to see what those kids went through, but I cannot recommend this show enough because it's strong, it's powerful, it has a lot to say about the culture, it has a lot to say about the police force. It's a lot of stuff that goes on in the show, but I cannot recommend that show enough. It's the best thing I've seen all year of last year as far as TV goes, and Ava DuVernay, man, hats off to you. You did a great job. The actors, the writers, the performers, incredible story. And, the guys that are still alive now, man, what a challenge, what a battle, and what a story. So there you have it. Number 1, When They See Us. That is my top 10 best shows of 2019. Again, like, share, comment below. Let me know what your top 10 is, your top 5, your top 3, your number 1 show of last year. Let me know in the comments. Thank you all for watching this video. Like I said up top, I have some other lists that I did in the last couple weeks, one being my top 10 horror films of the decade, best comic book movies of the decade. I will be having my top 10 movies of 2019 coming pretty soon, as well as my most anticipated for 2020. And of course, this year is going to be a very big year for Movie Files. More movie reviews, TV reviews, unboxings. I'm going to start to throw in some new things to this channel as far as like movie news, TV news, all that fun stuff. So keep an eye out for those videos. Thank you all for the amazing support. Can't wait to share more content with you all. But again, thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.